Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances of those to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are going to continue with Srimad Bhagavatam series of first canto, 14th chapter, verse number 30. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances of those to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your time and association. I'll share my screen. You can take over, Maharaj.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Pradyumna Sarva Vishinam Sukkamaste Mahavataha Gambhiro Rayo Nirudo Vardate Bhagavanuta. How is Pradyumna, the great general of the Vrishni family? Is he happy? And is Aniruddha, the plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead, faring well? Pradyumna and Aniruddha are also expansions of the personality of Godhead. Thus they are also Vishnu Tattva. At Dwarka, Lord Vasudeva is engaged in the transcendental pastimes along with his plenary expansions. Come in. Namely, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And therefore, each and every one of them can be addressed as the personality of Godhead, as is mentioned in connection with the name Aniruddha. Just give me a minute, I'll be right back. So take what you got and put it in front of Haridasa. It's right there. But not like that, like you were making an offering. Just give me a minute, I have to settle one thing here. That's all? 2 things, right?
Okay. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Okay, we're back.
Yes, Maharaj.
You have to feed Haridas. It always comes at the time when I'm giving a class. Okay, so Pradyumna and Aniruddha are also expansions of the personality of Godhead, and thus they are also Vishnu Tattva. At Dwarka, Lord Vasudeva is engaged in transcendental pastimes along with his plenary expansions, namely Sankarsana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, and therefore each and every one of them can be addressed as the personality of Godhead, as is mentioned in connection with the name Aniruddha. Next verse. Sushenas Charadeshnas Cha Sambhujam Bhavati Sutaha Anyacha Karshni Pravara Taputra Rishabhadayaha. Are all the chieftain sons of Lord Krishna, such as Shushena, Charadeshna, Samba, the son of Jambavati, and Nirshab, along with their sons, all doing well. As already mentioned, Lord Krishna married 16,108 wives, and each of them had 10 sons. Therefore, 16,108 times 10 equals 161,080 sons. They all grew up, and each of them had as many sons as their father, and the whole aggregate was something near 1,610,800 family members of the Lord. The Lord is the Father of all living beings, for countless in number, therefore only a few of them are called to associate with the Lord in his transcendental pastimes as the Lord of Dwarka on this earth. It is not astonishing that the Lord maintained a visible family consisting of so many members. It is better to refrain from comparing the Lord's position to ours. And it becomes a simple truth as soon as we understand at least a partial calculation of the Lord's transcendental position. King Yudhisthira, while inquiring about the Lord's sons and grandsons at Dwarka, mentioned only the chieftains among them. It was impossible for him to remember all the names of the Lord's family members. Umagyan Timirandasya Kinajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swam Padati Kam Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Yatya Desatarine. Jai Shri Krishna, Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Just to add to the purport, in another place it mentions that the Lord had one daughter from each of the wives also. So there was another 16,108 daughters, along with 10 sons for each of the queens. So, of course, what we're hearing here is that Hambija Padam Pita, that this Lord is the seed-giving father of all living entities. So here, as Prabhupada rightly mentions, only a few of them, 1,610,800, are family members. And those are the ones that accompanied him in his sojourn to the material world to perform his pastimes when he was here 5,000 years ago. So every living entity is the son or daughter of the Supreme Father, as it says of Hambija Pita, Pita means father. He says, I am the seed-giving father of all living entities. And so every living entity is actually connected with the Lord in an eternal relationship. For the sake of understanding, the terminology is used father to children, because actually he maintains us, just like the father maintains the children. So we are rightly called his children. And then we appear in different forms, not only in human form, but in all the 8,400,000 forms. They're all the children of the Lord. But in the human form of life, the relationship can be developed to another level based on the execution of one's innermost characteristic of their relationship with the Lord. As we see in this world, there are relationships based on friendship, relationships based on parental relationships, fathers to daughters, fathers to sons, children to their parents. And then we also have the conjugal relationship, the loving relationship between husband and wife, and boyfriend and girlfriend. And these things are reflections, or these things in this world are reflections of the same relationships that are there in the spiritual world. Unfortunately, the tendency is by the conditioned souls to compare what we see in this world to what we hear about the Lord's similar relationship, his loving relationships with his devotees in these different, we call them rasas. Rasas means a particular mellow, the word mellow is used, or characteristic of that relationship. And of course, it's mentioned that there are 4 prominent ones, and then there's one that's also given a category, and that is neutrality. For those who don't do service to the Lord, but still have a relationship to the Lord in admiration, that is called neutrality, such as the trees, the birds, and those living entities in the spiritual world. Now, we're not talking about the material one. In the spiritual world, who have a relationship with the Lord, but there is no execution of service. Of course, they're connected to the Lord in love based on admiration. And then the principle of service, which is characteristics of all of relationships, whether it's in friendship, parental relationships, or even conjugal love, is based on serving the Lord. And the Lord reciprocates that service according to the nature of that relationship. So people wonder, well, why we see different relationships in this world. It comes from the spiritual realm. Material world is a reflection, but we use the word perverted reflection of the spiritual world. The substance is in the spiritual world, which means it's fulfilling, it's satisfying, it brings unlimited happiness and raises one to the level of complete knowledge. In this world, we adopt these relationships because in order to carry on our affairs in this world, but they're not full of, satisfaction or various types of auspicious things. It's usually these relationships are done in order to fulfill one's desires for material happiness and or material security. And they're fraught with, and we use the word with emphasis, they're fraught with so many inebrities. Sometimes the family members in the material world become the greatest enemies. And we've seen that also too. We have the example of Aurangzeb. He was envious of his father because his father was very powerful and had created a palace for his mother, who was his wife, Aurangzeb's mother. And he was envious of his father, so he wanted to be more powerful than his father. So he took his father and put him in jail. And he also killed his brothers. And he was, so you see, even in family life, there's all of this intrigue and even horrific types of activities go on. In fact, just to use a mundane example, on a personal level, we see that in the material world, some of the most horrible things happen between family members. When I was traveling one time, it was an early Sunday morning. It was in Chicago. I was traveling with a small group of devotees. We were on our way to program, and our car had got a flat tire. And so we had to stop and we started to deal with the problem. The police arrived to see what was going on and they offered their assistance. And then I started to talk to the police officer. And I just said, I was just some small talk. I said, I guess it's quite quiet this time of the morning, Sunday morning. It's not much going on in terms of crime. I was surprised as the police officers, both of them responded to say, this is the worst time, the weekends, because the husbands and wives are together and this is where they fight. And many times we get calls and we have to deal with this husband and wife contentions, and sometimes it gets really violent. So we have to step in and try to do something. And when we do, we try to, help, the family members turn against us. And so we find it very difficult. He said that's the most difficult time for us is these family feuds that happen mostly on the weekends when the family members are together. So I was kind of shocked to hear that. So we see that in the material world, all these relationships that we have with friends, family members, and others can sometimes turn into the most ugliest things. Romeo and Juliet, that's the famous classic dramatic performance, I think Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, ends in a tragedy where both of them commit suicide. So this is the material world. So, but these relationships are there in perfection in the spiritual world. So if we really want to have loving and satisfying relationships, we have to spiritualize our relationships. Otherwise, if we don't spiritualize the relationships, keeping it on the bodily platform, there's always problems. There's always contentions. And if there's not serious problems, we somehow just tolerate the situation, although it doesn't give us much satisfaction. So that is the material world. But in the spiritual world, everything is beautiful because Krishna is the center, and each has a loving relationship with Krishna, and Krishna can reciprocate our need for love completely and perfectly because he is all powerful and he is the source of that same love. In this material world, we find people struggling to get satisfaction in their relationships because people cannot fulfill the desires of their partners, either in friendship, parental affection, or even in conjugal relationships. And so the satisfaction is never there. But in the spiritual world, it's all perfect. Therefore, if we're looking for that perfect relationship, we have to keep Krishna in the center and live according to religious principles. At least we can ameliorate our problems to a degree where we find satisfaction in that relationship because we all become devotees. When devotees are together in the relationship, whether it's friendship or parental affection or husband and wife or whatever, then Krishna remains the center and we serve each other rather than trying to exploit the other person for some personal sense gratification. And it becomes somewhat satisfying. Of course, it's not perfect because it's still in the material world, but it is a preliminary to develop that same relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world. So, therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, if you want to solve all your problems, just go back home, back to God. Here we're dealing with problems all the time. This is the material world. If we somehow satisfy a problem or come up with some temporary solution, temporary because it doesn't last, we feel some success in that endeavor. But then again, the time element, which pushes things along and changes things at the same time, always creates a new situation or a different situation. And so that is the nature of this material world. And as Krishna says, to kalayam asastratam. He says it twice in the Bhagavad Gita. This place is miserable and it's temporary. He says it again in the 9th chapter, says it in the 8th chapter, he says it in the 9th chapter. He wants to make a point that don't try to become happy here. Not possible. If you become a devotee, then you can become happy, but then you're no longer under the influence of the apara prakriti or the material energy, and you're under the influence of the daivi prakriti or spiritual energy. And your relationships are based on serving each other to assist each other, both on the material level and on the level of bringing each other closer to their relationship with Krishna. So there is grihamedi and there is grihasta. Both indicate family life. One family life is one people take advantage of each other and exploit each other and try to get something from each other. They may help each other for a little while, but that's only there so they can continue that relationship of exploitation. And if it gets so bad, sometimes people just break up and the relationship is gone. And then they look for another relationship to replace that relationship and they find themselves in the same situation. So this is the material world. So, and we might think, well, there are people who are happy, but that is an illusion. No one is happy in the material world. There's two kinds of manifestations of that illusion. One is people pretend that they're happy in order to play the game of material life. They have to actually convince themselves that they're actually happy in this world. And there's those who know they're not happy, will make a show of it just to somehow fit into today's society. But no one's happy because everyone has material desires, and material desires are the cause of disharmony. And what goes on in the material world is, if you fulfill my material desires, if you help me fulfill my material desires, you're my friend, you're my husband, you're my lover. And if you don't, well, you might still be called that, but actually, I'm not finding anything. And therefore, sometimes we see, like in the material world, especially in the United States of America, people in family life, they're always cheating on each other. The husband has another girlfriend on the side. Sometimes it's his secretary. Sometimes it's some acquaintance he meets when he travels for business. He shacks up with another lady. And then the wife, sometimes she has her secret lover. And actually, I came across a website when I was preaching in America many years ago. It's called, what was it called? Let me think. It was called extramaritalrelations.com. So there are people who are married and they apply to this website to meet someone else who is married, who wants to have a relationship outside of their what we say, normal wedlock. So it's a business too. So this is the material world. It's crazy. And everybody does things to cover up their suffering by adding another form of suffering. And napanyati napashyati. This verse from the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam says that everyone sees everyone else's suffering, but they think not happening to me. Or if they think if it is happening to me, soon I will solve my problem. But trust no future, no matter how bright you may create it within the illusionary state of one's consciousness. So if we really want to enjoy relationships, they have to be on the spiritual level, because that's where relationships are actually relationships, not in this material world. It's all exploitation based on fulfilling material desires. That's it. So make your family members Krishna conscious, become Krishna conscious yourself, and develop that relationship where Krishna is the center. And that will qualify you to go back home, back to Godhead, to experience that real relationship with Krishna in the spiritual. We get a taste of it right now in this material world as we execute our devotional service. But it becomes complete and fulfilling when we actually come to the stage of pure loving devotion to Krishna. And therefore, when one has pure love for Krishna, one sees every other living entity as dear to Krishna, and they also serve all of the others living entities in that same way as they would serve Krishna, even more so. Because they see all living entities as parts and parcel of Krishna, who are dear to Krishna. And in order to serve Krishna, they understand that the greatest service is to serve those in relationship to Krishna, even more so than serving Krishna directly. That is Krishna consciousness. Okay, so we'll stop there.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, please unmute yourself or raise your hand. Please ask your questions. And please turn on your cameras if possible. We can all take each other's association. Thank you. Maharaj, while others are thinking, I have a question. Can you please elaborate on this concept of neutrality, admiration towards the Lord, but no execution of service? So is it available in the material world or like, is it in the spiritual world? I didn't get it. Actually.
Yeah, it's called abhikshasya. Abhikshasya means to sit in front of the deities and just offer your prayers to the deity. In other words, to admire the deity, to see the beautiful form of the Lord, but there's no active service. And it's called neutrality. It's called abhikshasya. We might also say that that is the form that the devotees take. They sit in front of the beautiful deity and just admire his beauty, think about ways to serve him, although they're not doing anything active. We do that. We call it darshan, but it's actually a form of service. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The Mayavadis, although they don't serve the Lord directly, they also, because of their connection with the Lord, and they serve the impersonal aspects of the Lord, they're also in the mood of neutrality also. They can't, because they don't do any service, they don't develop any real relationship with the Lord.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Yeah, got it. Devotees, any questions? Today the group is very silent. Yeah, Namrata Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, you said that in material world, people try to solve their problems. They have issues and they think that, okay, it will get solved one day. So what is the difference? What is the difference in this mood and when we refer to text 2.14 of Bhagavad Gita, Matrasparshastu Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhada. So how a devotee is taking it and how a material person is taking it.
Is taking that verse, happiness and
Yes.
distress.
Yes.
What is referring to when you actually understand the whole principle of material life, there is an idea of happiness. And the idea of happiness is simply the mitigation of suffering. That's I just posted it on the conference just before the class started. Prabhupada's statement in this same regard. You can read it if you go to the conference. He's talking about the same thing I was just talking about. It's there. That, yeah, there is the idea of happiness. Now, how does life go on in the material world if there is no happiness? If there's no happiness, how will life go on? So then again, you get right down to the finer understandings that Chapala Sukala. Chapala means flickering, and Sukala means happiness. So in the material world, Yapati, one of the contemporaries of Lord Chaitanya, who's a great poet, he says there is happiness in the material world, but he compares it to a drop of water in a desert. He says, he explains that is called family life. And there is that drop of happiness that may be there in family life. But because we are thirsty for continuous happiness, we cannot satisfy it. We're in the desert. If you're suffering from thirst, you're actually hoping to find water as you wander throughout the desert. And because of the thirst, you actually imagine that you see a reservoir of water, and it's called a mirage. And what is that mirage? It's the sun is reflecting off the sand, and it creates an image of water. And then you run after that water, and where you get more burning sand. So that's happiness in the material world. There's a drop. Otherwise, how could people go on in material life if there wasn't any happiness? But that happiness is so insignificant, no one's satisfied. But that drop keeps them going. But if you want the real reservoir of unlimited happiness, you find it in Krishna. There's no other place.
So the material person is looking towards happiness like the mirage in the desert. And when it comes to Dhira, he is on the equanimity platform. Everything is same for it.
When it comes to
Dhira.
Who's dear in the material world?
No, not in material world. Dhira has been explained in 2.14.
Yeah. That's what Krishna is instructing Arjuna. That this happiness and distress in the material world, you just have to tolerate it. Because what appears to be happiness goes, and what appears to be distress also goes. It keeps coming and going. The constant flow, just like the summer and winter seasons continue to come each year. Same as material happiness and distress, but there's continual revolving of these different experiences in life. That's nobody wants distress. You just keep coming. Everyone wants happiness. Why does everyone want happiness? Because our nature is to be happy always. That's Sat Chit Ananda. That is our nature. We're eternal, but we die in this material world, so therefore we cannot find eternality here. We're full of knowledge, but we go to school to learn things that are completely useless, and we call it knowledge. And then we're full of happiness, but we have to try to make so many arrangements to fulfill that desire for happiness. So on the spiritual level, there is no acquisition of anything. It's already there. Eternally, knowledge and joy is the nature of the soul's existence in relationship to Krishna. Without that connection to Krishna, it's asat, achit, and nirananda.
Yes, thank you, Gurumaj. I was listening to the same lecture which Prabhupada was telling about Asat, Achetana, and Nirananda today only. So yes, thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
I think you can write a book about it. So we can... or at least a small book. And I think we all have experiences of what I'm saying, because that's the characteristics of this world. If you want relationships to be real, they have to be on the spiritual platform, not on the material platform. Material platform is not a stable platform. Spiritual platform is the stability of the soul's nature. It is always feeling happy, and is always full of knowledge. So we have to become Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Nice question. Devotees, any more questions? Maharaj, as you were talking about the happiness, I was thinking, like, we are not, actually, I'm in the middle, like, I'm not even near fight, I'm not even advanced. So sometimes the way how we portray ourselves as a devotees out to the outside people, whether I'm happy showing my happiness in Krishna consciousness or not. Maharaj? Hare Krishna. Oh. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Are you able to hear me, Maharaj?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
my internet just jumped.
Yeah.
Well,
So I was telling that, so as how we are going to portray ourselves as a happy devotee to the outside world, when I am struggling with my own sadhana and I'm in the middle, like I'm not there yet. So how can it be happen, Maharaj?
Sure. Don't worry about being happy. Just try to serve. The scriptures say there's only two categories of people who are happy. One is the gross materialist who is so downtrodden, he doesn't even know that he's not happy. He thinks he's happy, just like the guy who's drinking, he's laying in the street, and then he's got his bottle, and he's thinking, boy, am I happy. And the pure devotee, and everyone in between is experiencing a degree of happiness and distress.
So just focus on serving, that's all, Maharaj.
Yeah, forget about happiness. It'll come by way of service. If you're thinking about happiness, you'll miss it. Prahlad Maharaj makes the statement. He said, don't try to become happy, but serve in such a way that, what does he say? Let me think of the actual quote. Can't think of it right now. And he says that all attempts at becoming happiness simply lead to suffering. So if you're just trying to serve, you'll be happy. We see, they also say in the material world, the happiest people are those who are serving others. The conditioned soul gets absorbed in their own plans for happiness, and they actually miss it.
Yes, Maharaj. So, but the thing is, okay, I'm not trying to be happy, I'm just serving. But how I'm going to influence or
make others happy. Try to make other people happy.
Okay.
Yeah. See what they need and try to help them achieve that. That's material, but if you see ultimately what everybody needs is Krishna. So if you really want to be happy, try to bring others to Krishna consciousness. But even on a material level, there is that sense of freedom from anxiety when you're trying to serve others.
Yes, Maharaj.
The service is our nature, and we can't somehow bypass that quality. It's just characteristic. We are meant to serve. We see even people who are alone towards the end of their life, they're very unhappy because they don't have their partner anymore to serve. And they actually die because of that. They die out of loneliness, out of a lack of fulfillment of the happiness that they had when they were together where they could serve someone. So though yet you see that in the material world all the time. And even in the spiritual context sometimes. So service is the way to happiness. And when we serve the Supreme Lord, then we are on the platform of happiness automatically.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so much. Got it. Any devotees, any more questions or comments? Today, I don't see any hand raised, Maharaj. I don't know why today group is very silent.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I hit at the heart of their attachments, which is family life. As soon as you hit the heart, as soon as you hit to start talking about family life, then you start, people start thinking.
yeah. Maharaj, so I in the purport, Prabhupada is talking about don't compare our position with Lord's position. But usually in the material world, many people I see that they argue or they say that they do give references that Krishna has done like that, Rama has done like that. So why can't we do this? So how to answer these type of people, Maharaj?
I missed your question.
Yeah, actually, in the purport, Prabhupada is saying about don't compare your position with Lord's position. So, but usually people around us, they usually compare, like Lord Rama has done this, that's why I'm doing, or Lord Krishna has done this, and that's why I can also do. Like this, they give some excuses and they give reasons for their actions. So how to handle this type of mentality? Or
your acharyas also go on to say, Rama, Rama actually, he created a bridge over water. So if you want to be like Ram, create a bridge of floating rocks over the ocean. You want to be like Krishna, then live Govardhan Hill. And they do the same thing with Shiva. They want to be like Shiva. We say Shiva smoked ganja, but he also drank an ocean of poison. So they talk about following the example of the Lord, but they only do things that are based on their own sense gratification. They can't follow the Lord. No one can follow, because the Lord's activities are beyond anything in this material world. Can anybody lift a huge mountain with their pinky and keep it there for 7 days, at the same time perform other activities? Simply by writing his name on the boulders, the monkeys were able to build a bridge. Ram put his name on the boulders. Shiva, when he was there at the ocean, the churning of the ocean of milk, the poison came. There was nobody else to save the devotees at the time. Shiva sacrificed, and he drank the ocean of poison. Therefore, he's called Nilakanta or Kalakanta. On his neck, there's a mark, and that mark was where the poison stopped. I mean, so you want to imitate, but the verse says, Tejasam Nadosaya. Don't try to imitate the powerful. You can't do it. You're not powerful. Just try to serve according to your capacity. Well, this imitation is cheap.
Mm. Yeah, in Bhagavad Gita also, Prabhupada mentions this, like don't follow or imitate. Yeah. Yes.
Imitation.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Yeah. Anna
They
Mataji.
say, yeah, Lord Ram.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say Lord Ram ate meat so we can.
Yeah, exactly the
Lord,
same thing I heard. Yes, yes, ma'am.
that's the one that's most common.
Yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead, build an ocean, build a bridge over the ocean, or rally 1 million monkeys. Can you put them all together? Can you shoot an arrow that goes around the world and comes back into the quiver after going through the earth?
Thank you, Maharaj. Anna Mataji, you can please go ahead. Namata Mataji, I'll take you next.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the talk, Guru Maharaj, on relationships. It's really interesting, especially to me and John are looking at doing some retreats to help people with relationships in KC and sort of out of it. But I wanted to ask you a question on how would you answer? Because nowadays I know we're in Kali Yuga, and being with one person for the rest of your life isn't such an attractive thing anymore. And it's looked at as, that's too much hard work. And I can't, and I've had this question a few times, and I know myself why the answer is right, but I wanted to ask you, what your answer would be.
Well, because we're with the body, but not with the soul. That's why it seems difficult.
Mm.
Spiritual are ever expanding. Material relationship, tired, bored, frustrated, unhappy. They want variety. And variety is life, but variety can also be there with one person. When we actually put Krishna in the center, it becomes actually full of joy. We have devotees in our movement who have been married for 50 years, and they have wonderful relationships with each other. And they're an example for the rest of the world, the rest of society, and how you can stay with one person your whole life. And if you develop appreciation for that person, then that is the first stage. And appreciation leads to service. Service leads to more and more different kinds of service. And Krishna, unlimited, so the varieties that we can enjoy with one particular person are unlimited, because spirit is not limited anymore. Even in the material world, there is a multitude of varieties, but because they're all based on the body, people just jump from one situation to another and not finding any satisfaction. or very little. And the spiritual world, it's nice because each person reminds you of Krishna, connects you with Krishna, and gives you the opportunity to experience your own dynamic quality of existence by serving in so many different ways. So spiritual relationships are not static. For instance, we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we're chanting the same names over and over again.
Mm.
And it gets better and better as time goes on because it's spiritual. Anything spiritual expands, anything material contracts. So, but if you're doing it, it has to be done with both partners. Both have to be on that same level. If one is giving and the other one's only receiving, and then we find that sometimes that giving person starts to lose. The only time you can see a relationship where one person is giving and the other person is receiving is when the mother is giving to the little child. The child is simply dependent on the mother. The mother has natural affection for her own child. It's natural. It doesn't have to be developed, created, or read about, or studied, or anything. It's there. And whatever the child does, the mother doesn't take it into account. She simply wants to take care of her and show her love to the child. It's natural. So that's the closest thing in the material world to pure love. But when you onto the spiritual life, then that same unlimited experience of giving is also there. Because when in the spiritual realm, when we're giving, we're also getting. Because Krishna is the center of our relationship. So we have a relationship with Krishna at the same time we have a relationship with that other person. And the quality of our relationship with Krishna will be of the same nature of the quality of our relationship with that other person. In other words, it becomes new, fresh, and enjoyable. But it has to be the same understanding that they're both giving. Both are giving and both are receiving simultaneously.
Thank you so much. I'm going to re-listen to this talk again and again to take notes because that was just such a beautiful answer. So thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, play it back for John also.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's a nice person. He's a very nice person.
Yeah, I was very lucky. Krishna's
Course.
blessed me with a very, very nice soul.
He's a sweetheart.
I'll tell him you said that.
I think he knows that I have that opinion.
Yeah, I think he does.
Namita Mataji, you want to go ahead?
Hare Krishna. So just a little follow-up from what Anna Mataji was talking about. I was just thinking of exactly opposite situation where the partners, they are together for entire life, as the Varnashram system is mentioning. And if the relationship is based on Krishna consciousness, the wife is very submissive. They are the equality of service is there towards each other. So how does it happen that at the time of death they won't think about each other?
They may. That's why it's not good at the time of death to be around those who are really, you've been really close to in life, because they might think of that person and then find it difficult to achieve perfection. So, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he had a big family, but when 2 weeks before he knew he was going to leave soon. So 2 weeks before he did, he went to Nirjan Bhajan. No one knows where he went, and he did his own bhajan, and he just left the world by himself. But then there's those who help you at the time of death to connect with Krishna more and more. If you need that close of a relationship with someone, we also may feel that attachment now is being broken, and therefore we think of that person. And as it says, yam yam vapis param bhavam yam yam vapis param bhavam tattva ante kalevaram tam tam ivaiti kontya siddhartha bhava bhavitaha. Turn to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse number 6.
Yes.
But 5 and 6 go together very nicely.
8.
Bhagavad Gita, yes, Srimati can bring it up.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, I'm doing it.
5 and 6. I quoted verse number 6.
Yes,
Whatever
yeah.
state of one remembers at the time of death, at that state they will attain without fail. Whatever it is. So the process of changing one's nature at the critical moment of death is here and explained. Maharaj Bharat, at the end of his life, he thought of a deer because he developed an attraction for the deer. And then when he left his body, his consciousness was on the baby deer. And the next life, he took the body of the deer. Therefore, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, is the best process of changing one state of being at the end of one's life. So we surround the dying person with the holy name, with pictures of Vrindavan, and we give them gases, water, tulsi leaves, create an environment which is like Vrindavan.
Thank
To
you,
help
Maharaj.
them remember Krishna at the time of death.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Maharaj, there is a question on chat by Sonal Mataji. She's asking, Hare Krishna Maharaj, humble obeisances. When one of the family members is not well, especially children, my sadhana gets affected very significantly. Shall I see this as mere material attachment, or shall I see it as my duty? You mentioned anxiety, which is really seen very clearly in this situation.
Who's asking the question?
Sonal Mataji, Sonal.
So no. Okay. So what's the question?
So when one of the family members is not feeling well, her sadhana is getting affected significantly. And is it a material attachment or it's a duty? How should I see it? And there is an anxiety in this situation also, which is clearly seen. That's what she's asking.
So the person or the person seen?
The person, especially when she is seeing her children not feeling well, or and one of the family members not well at that time.
At the time of death?
No. Just when they are not feeling well, she's little concerned, and maybe she's giving a lot of time to them. That's why her sadhana is getting affected. Is she
Her
asking
sadhana.
that is it a material attachment, or it's like a duty I have to do it?
Oh, yeah, it's a duty. Yeah, it's a duty. I try to find time for your sadhana also.
Hmm.
You know, when you're not taking care of the children, then use that time to make up for your sadhana. That's practical. But it's a duty. You can't neglect them because they need your, they're dependent on you. And that's your duty to take care of them. Or if you can't take care of them directly, at least arrange for someone to take care of them.
Yeah. Sonal Mataji, is that okay? If you have anything extra to ask.
It says here, the scriptures say 5 categories of people are dependent. The brahmanas, the cows, old people, women, and children. Society must arrange for these 5 categories of people to get the care they need. If the society exploits them or doesn't provide the care, that will become the downfall of that society. You'll see, Draupadi was vilified by Dushasana and Duryodhana. She was a chaste lady, and that was the cause of the whole destruction of the Kuru dynasty. The vilification of Draupadi. So yeah, cows are being slaughtered now in the world. Wars are going on. These are direct connections to animal killing. People are suffering because they're killing cows and killing babies. Horrendous wars, not just wars. These are like horrific wars. Where just like they, they mercilessly butcher a cow in the same way they're being butchered in these wars. No difference. Children, there's a whole program of kidnapping children now in the world. There's these demons, they have arranged these different gangs to go through different countries and look for little children who are not being cared for, and they pick them up off the street, and that's the last time their parents ever see them. I just came across something you won't find on the internet or anywhere else. They just liberated 2,000 children that were kidnapped and being held in tunnels in certain places in Europe. 2,000. But that was a small number. They take these children and they psychologically program, and they send them to different places to become concubines if they're girls, boys also, or they program them to become like them. The demons are very expert at mind control. They have mastered that art. They know how to control the mind. You can see that if you watch the mass media. How the mass media can control your mind. It's all done the same way. So yeah, this abuse of children, cows, of course, women have been abused for hundreds of years. Even now, it's even worse than ever before. Brahmins, they're not even abused, and because people don't even recognize them. Therefore, Brahmins have to take up occupations in order to maintain themselves. But they're not, Brahmins are not even supposed to work. They're supposed to provide spiritual knowledge, medical knowledge for society. And society is supposed to take care of the Brahmins simply by supporting their personal needs. That's Vedic culture. That's real culture. But that's not there. So our whole society right now is just a bastion of demons. Where all of these 5 categories of people are being exploited and killed. And then then you see when there's so much horrible things happening in the world. It's all because of that. It's directly the cause of it, and at the same time, it's the reason why it's happening. All you have to do is read the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam will explain everything I'm saying to you. If you want to get right to the essence, stick around for the 16th chapter of this first canto and the 17th chapter. It gets right into it. And then the 12th canto itself is full of all of these explanations. It's all in the Bible. So yeah, because people are sinful, because people are exploitive, this is the problems. So taking care of children is a responsibility for those who are in that position. Prabhupada said, if you can't take care of your children, don't have children. And when the children grow up, they're expected to take care of their parents. As the parents become old and cannot do everything for themselves. And so the children are meant to reciprocate in the care that they receive from their parents. They become indebted, they become obliged. They actually want to. Those who are, of good character, they actually want to take care of their parents. Because they're grateful for what their parents gave them. So yeah, taking care of children has to be there. And society has to support that by programs for taking care of children also. Just like, I'll give you an example. In Mumbai, the devotees have set up a Food for Life program where we send 1.2 million school children in Mumbai get free food from our temples every day. 1.2 million. That was happening during the lockdown when there was no food available for many people. The Prime Minister Modi was so overwhelmed with gratitude. He gave us so many accolades and thanked our society for doing this work. He sent out letters and praises. At the same time, it's still going on. Even today, one devotee in Mumbai, Radha Krishna, he's my age. He's actually older than me. He's close to 80 years old, him and his wife. They run this whole program of sending out food to school children because their parents can't really afford to take care of them. So we support. And so this is a program of compassion. This is a program of need. Giving food to people who require it, especially children. HH Swami Maharaj did that in Ujjain too. He was feeding 23,000 children every day. Yeah, taking care of children is that's the future of the world. The children will become the future leaders.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. We have one more hand raised by Hema Mataji. Is it okay if we take Maharaj? Yeah, Hema Mataji, you want to ask your question?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for such thought-provoking realizations that you've shared with us. I had a question regarding remembering Krishna at the time of death. So I'm looking after a devotee who has got dementia at the moment, and not in such good condition. What can we do to help him remember Krishna apart from, he carries his bead bag. He has deities at home who are not dressed. Obviously, he's not able to look after the deities. What else can I do to help support him?
Oh, he's elderly and cannot take care of himself, right?
Yes, and he's got dementia.
He's got dementia. You can, if it's possible, you can create the environment there. One of the ways you can do that is play Prabhupada's japa tape constantly.
Yes.
They have those little machines now. You can play, it plays continuously 24 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. Put pictures around the walls of his home, Krishna, and the various types of deities. If someone can come and cook for him and offer it, make sure he gets.
We supply prasad to him every day because we realized that the care workers were feeding him McDonald's and all kinds of things. And then we realized that, so we're now supplying meals to him almost every day.
Yeah. That's important. Yes. Yeah. Krishna will give you ideas. Just start doing things. But the sound vibration is important. I know certain people who are suffering from a lot of mental trauma. They were devotees, and because they had some wealth, they put speakers in the walls of all of their rooms and had a system where 24 hours a day there was bhajans playing coming out of the walls in every room. Of course, you could turn it on and off, but if they put it on and left it on, then they would be hearing bhajans all the time.
Yes, Maharaj, I like the idea of the chanting box. It's such a wonderful idea, and I will definitely put that in. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maharaj, before I go, I just wanted to express our gratitude, family gratitude from all our family members, because you initiated my mother while you were here last time, and she was suffering from cancer. And I know when you blessed her that she will be better, and definitely her cancer has gone now with the 3 chemotherapy. Wow. And we are just so grateful, Maharaj, for your mercy that you showed upon her and showered upon her. And we are ever so grateful, Maharaj, for what you did.
Kirti Das Sundar.
Yes, Maharaj. And she wanted to specifically me to ring you or to mention on the chat that she's better now and it's all your mercy. And when you held her hand and got her up, she knew her cancer had gone. And now they've cleared her completely. She's in remission, sir. Yes. Thank you so much.
She's such a joyful soul. She was making everybody joyful, even though she had cancer.
Yes. Thank you so much, Maharaj. We are forever grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for that wonderful, wonderful news about your mother. Wonderful.
Leela Shakti Mataji said, I must tell you about this news. So hi. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
Aya.
Krishna.
I'm so
Thank you
happy.
for sharing, Mataji. It's very nice news.
Yes,
Thank
sheer Maharaji's mercy has got her better, 100%. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Danvan Pranam Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, dear devotees. Yeah, this marriage, I don't see any hand raised now. So I think we can end the call here. We are almost 1.5 hours. So I just want to announce tomorrow's class. Tomorrow's class is with ISKCON Harrisburg devotees, and the verses are 1 Canto 18 chapter 5 and 6. 118, 5 and 6.
5 and 6, 118.
Yes. And it will
Okay.
be the same regular time as 4:30 p.m. IST, 12 p.m. UK time. Thank you all very much for joining.
Pray that my internet is working.
Yes, Maharaj, it's good since 2 days. So hopefully,
Yeah. Mercy.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much for today's class.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much for today's class. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai,
Maharaj.
Sri
Hare
Prabhupada ki
Krishna.
jai.
Thank you so much.
Prabhupada ki
So much. Ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
So
Thank
much.
you.
Ki jai.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare